There's a barbecue shack in Arkansas that's been smoking the same pork since before World War I ended. And most people drive right past it without knowing they're passing America's oldest Black-owned restaurant still in operation. In New Orleans, there's an elegant dining room where Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. planned protests over bowls of gumbo so good it could make grown men weep. And in Washington, D.C., a modest grill has survived riots, gentrification, and 100 years of change while serving the same fried fish and grits that once nourished freedom riders and still feeds congressmen today. These aren't just restaurants that happen to survive. They're sacred institutions that fed revolution, sheltered activists during the most dangerous days of segregation, and preserved culinary traditions that connect generations of Black families to their Southern roots. What nobody tells you is that some of America's most important history happened over dinner tables in these establishments, where strategies were whispered over cornbread and freedom was planned between bites of fried chicken. Today's generation might think soul food restaurants are just places to get good comfort food, but these 10 legendary establishments represent something far more powerful. They're living monuments to resilience, resistance, and the understanding that sometimes the most important conversations happen when people gather around tables filled with food made with love. 1. Jones Barbecue Diner in Marianna, Arkansas, since 1910s, America's oldest surviving treasure. In a tiny cinder block building that looks like it might blow away in a strong wind sits America's oldest Black-owned restaurant still operating, Jones Barbecue Diner, where the Jones family has been smoking pork the exact same way for over 110 years without changing a single step in their process. This isn't just a restaurant, it's a time machine disguised as a barbecue shack, where 4 generations have perfected one simple menu item that represents culinary mastery achieved through more than a century of daily practice. The secret isn't complicated. They smoke pork over hickory wood in pits behind the restaurant, chop it by hand, and serve it on white bread with tangy vinegar-based sauce and mustard coleslaw. But the execution requires knowledge that can't be taught in culinary schools. The restaurant opens at 7 a.m. and closes when the meat runs out, which happens most days by early afternoon, because locals know that once Jones Barbecue sells out, there's no more until tomorrow's smoking begins again. This place survived the Great Depression, 2 world wars, segregation, integration, and every economic challenge that has closed countless other businesses, proving that sometimes the simplest approach creates the most lasting success. 2. Dooky Chase's restaurant in New Orleans, Louisiana, since 1941, where revolution was fed. Dooky Chase's began as a simple sandwich shop in 1941, but under the leadership of the late Leah Chase, known as the Queen of Creole Cuisine, it transformed into both a culinary powerhouse and the unofficial headquarters of the civil rights movement in New Orleans. The upstairs dining room became a sacred space where Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Thurgood Marshall, and other freedom fighters gathered to plan protests, organize voter registration drives, and strategize resistance over bowls of Leah's legendary gumbo and plates of perfectly seasoned Creole classics. What made Dooky Chase's revolutionary wasn't just the food, though Leah's cooking was extraordinary. It was her courage to create one of America's first integrated fine dining establishments, where Black and white civil rights workers could meet safely during the most dangerous days of the movement. Leah Chase understood that feeding people was about more than nourishment. It was about dignity, respect, and creating spaces where important work could happen around tables filled with love. Today, the restaurant remains family-owned and operated, continuing Leah's legacy of serving food that feeds both bodies and movements, while preserving the Creole culinary traditions that make New Orleans unique. 3. Florida Avenue Grill, Washington, D.C., since 1944, the world's oldest soul food institution. Officially recognized as the world's oldest soul food restaurant, Florida Avenue Grill has been serving the same fried fish, grits, and Southern hospitality since 1944, when Lacey, or Carl Wilson, invested $5,000 to transform a small food stand into a community institution that would outlive most American businesses. Located in D.C.'s historic U Street corridor, this establishment has served as a gathering place through segregation, the civil rights movement, urban renewal that destroyed many black businesses, and the ongoing gentrification that continues changing the neighborhood around it. The walls are lined with photographs of famous African Americans who have dined there, politicians, entertainers, activists, and everyday people who understood that Florida Avenue Grill represented more than just excellent soul food. It was a place where Black Americans could find dignity, respect, and plates piled high with love. The restaurant remains family-owned and operated, continuing Leah's legacy of serving food that feeds both bodies and movements, while preserving the Creole culinary traditions that make New Orleans unique. 4. The Four-Way, Memphis, Tennessee, since 1946. Dr. King's final Memphis meal. The Four-Way opened in 1946 as a small restaurant serving the black community in Memphis, but it gained eternal significance as the place where Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. ate his final meal before being assassinated at the nearby Lorraine Motel on April 4, 1968. The restaurant's fried catfish, cornbread, and vegetables nourished not just Dr. King, but countless other civil rights leaders who found comfort, strategy sessions, and community support around tables that witnessed history being made, one conversation at a time. What makes the Four-Way special isn't just its connection to Dr. King, though that connection is profound. It's the restaurant's role as a consistent community anchor that has provided employment, nourishment, and gathering space for Memphis families across 3 generations. The menu features classic soul food, prepared with the kind of care and attention that turns simple ingredients into memorable experiences, proving that the best restaurants understand their responsibility extends far beyond just serving food. Today, the Four-Way continues operating in the same location, serving the same community, maintaining the same commitment to excellence that made it worthy of feeding the most important civil rights leader in American history during his final hours in Memphis. 5. Busy Bee Cafe, Atlanta, Georgia, since 1947. Legendary hospitality that fed icons. Busy Bee Cafe opened in 1947 and quickly became legendary throughout Atlanta for serving some of the city's best soul food while providing a welcoming space where everyone from neighborhood families to famous celebrities could find excellent food and genuine hospitality. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was a regular customer who frequently ordered the restaurant's famous ham hocks with collard greens, establishing Busy Bee's reputation as a place where important people trusted the food and felt comfortable enough to become regulars. The restaurant's commitment to traditional soul food preparation, long-simmered greens, perfectly seasoned meats, fluffy cornbread, and desserts that taste like grandmother's kitchen has attracted everyone from President Barack Obama to countless everyday customers who understand that Busy Bee represents authentic Southern cooking at its finest. What sets Busy Bee apart is its understanding that soul food is about more than recipes. It's about hospitality, warmth, and treating every customer like family, regardless of their fame, wealth, or status in the community. The restaurant survived Atlanta's massive urban development, changing demographics, and the challenges that have closed many other long-standing black businesses, proving that consistent quality and genuine care can create loyalty that lasts across generations. 6. Paschal's Restaurant, Atlanta, Georgia, since 1947. Civil Rights Movement Command Center. Paschal's Restaurant opened in 1947 and became far more than just an excellent soul food establishment. It served as the unofficial headquarters of the civil rights movement in Atlanta, where Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Andrew Young, John Lewis, and other leaders regularly gathered to plan protests, discuss strategy, and find comfort in food that reminded them of home during the most challenging moments of their fight for justice. The
The restaurant's dining rooms and nearby motel provided safe spaces where civil rights workers could meet, rest, and organize without fear of violence or surveillance, making Paschal's an essential part of the infrastructure that supported the movement. Brothers James and Robert Paschal understood that their business could serve a purpose greater than profit, opening their doors to activists and providing credit, meeting spaces, and emotional support that helped sustain the people fighting for freedom. The restaurant's fried chicken, collard greens, and cornbread nourished bodies, while the hospitality and protection provided by the Paschal brothers nourished spirits that needed strength to continue dangerous and exhausting work. Today, Paschal's continue operating in Atlanta, maintaining its commitment to excellent soul food while honoring the legacy of service that made it one of the most important Black-owned businesses in American history. 7. Sylvia's Restaurant, Harlem, New York, since 1962. The Queen of Harlem's Empire. Sylvia Woods opened Sylvia's Restaurant in Harlem in 1962 after working as a waitress and seeing an opportunity to create something special, eventually building what would become the most famous soul food restaurant in the world and earning herself the title Queen of Soul Food. What started as a small neighborhood restaurant grew into a cultural institution that attracts visitors from around the globe while maintaining its connection to the Harlem community that supported it from the beginning. Sylvia's success represents more than excellent food. Though the fried chicken, mac and cheese, and cornbread are legendary, it demonstrates how authentic soul food preparation, genuine hospitality, and community commitment can build businesses that transcend their original purpose to become cultural landmarks. The restaurant has been featured in countless books, television shows, and travel guides, but it never lost its soul and never forgot that success means serving the community that made it possible. Under the continued leadership of the Woods family, Sylvia's has expanded to include a successful line of packaged foods that bring authentic soul food flavors to kitchens across America while maintaining the original restaurant's commitment to quality and tradition.
8. Ben's Chili Bowl, Washington, D.C. since 1958. Community lifeline through crisis. Ben's Chili Bowl opened in 1958 on U Street in Washington, D.C., and became more than just a restaurant famous for its half-smokes and chili. It became a symbol of community resilience that survived the 1968 riots, urban decay, gentrification, and every challenge that has destroyed other businesses in the historically Black neighborhood. When riots erupted after Dr. King's assassination, Ben's remained open to feed firefighters, police officers, and community members, while other businesses burned around it, proving that some establishments become essential infrastructure during times of crisis. The restaurant gained national attention when President Obama visited, but locals have always understood that Ben's represents authentic D.C. culture, serving everyone from night shift workers to celebrities with the same genuine hospitality and legendary chili that has defined the establishment for over 6 decades. Ben's cultural importance extends far beyond its famous food. It represents the survival of Black-owned businesses in communities under constant pressure from development and change, showing how commitment to community and consistent quality can create institutions that become essential parts of neighborhood life. Today, Ben's continues operating with the same dedication to excellence that has made it a Washington, D.C. institution for over half a century. This Is It, Houston, Texas, since 1959, 66 years of Texas soul food tradition. This Is It opened in Houston in 1959 and has spent over 6 decades serving authentic soul food that represents the best of Texas cooking while maintaining strong connections to the Southern traditions that define the cuisine and the community it serves. The restaurant's commitment to traditional preparation methods, slow-cooked vegetables, perfectly seasoned meats, and desserts made from scratch has created a loyal following that spans multiple generations of families who understand that This Is It represents more than just excellent food.
It represents consistency, tradition, and community pride. What makes This Is It special in Houston's competitive restaurant scene is its understanding that soul food isn't about recipes, it's about creating spaces where families can gather, celebrate, and find comfort in food that connects them to their heritage and to each other. The restaurant has weathered economic downturns, changing demographics, and the challenges that have closed many other long-standing businesses, proving that commitment to quality and community can create institutions that become essential parts of neighborhood life. Today, This Is It continues operating with the same dedication to excellence that has made it a Houston institution for over half a century. Lois the Pie Queen, Oakland, California since 1951, making it the oldest Black-owned restaurant on the West Coast and a testament to how Southern culinary traditions traveled during the Great Migration to create new food cultures in cities far from the South. Lois learned her signature pie-making skills from her mother and chose to focus on desserts that would remind transplanted Southerners of home, while introducing California residents to authentic soul food traditions that many had never experienced. The restaurant became known throughout the Bay Area for pies that were legendary, sweet potato, peach cobbler, and other desserts that made customers understand why Lois earned the title Pie Queen, and why people would travel across the region just to taste her creations. What makes Lois the Pie Queen significant beyond its excellent desserts is its role in establishing West Coast soul food culture, proving that authentic Southern cooking could thrive anywhere that skilled cooks were willing to maintain traditional preparation methods and commit to excellence. The restaurant continues operating today under family ownership, maintaining the same commitment to quality and tradition that made it a California institution for over 7 decades. These 10 restaurants represent more than businesses that survived economic challenges and changing times. They're living proof that soul food establishments serve purposes far greater than just providing excellent meals. They preserved culinary traditions during periods when Black culture was under attack, provided safe spaces during the most dangerous days of segregation, and created community anchors that continue nourishing bodies and spirits across multiple generations. Today's diners who visit these historic establishments aren't just enjoying excellent food, they're participating in traditions that connect them to the courage, resilience, and determination of people who understood that sometimes the most important work happens around tables filled with food made with love.